and welcome to my channel. You are here for a Fallback with Smart Choices collab. This is the brainchild of Sandy over at Let's Get Fit with Sandy. She thought it was a great idea to get all of us YouTubers together and get each of our perspectives on how we make smart choices, how we stay on plan. So there are some questions here, for a guideline. So I figure we'll go through the questions. But before we do that, I'll just tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Kim. I'm from North Carolina, born and bred, proud Southerner. But I started Weight Watchers in April of 2018. And I have done different plans of Weight Watchers. I've done low carb. I did Mediterranean for a minute. I didn't like it. I'll be honest with you. It was not my cup of tea. And I even tried keto in there at one time when I quit Weight Watchers. But I've been working at it ever since. And so far, now I'm doing this before my weigh-in this week, so I don't know if I will have lost more, but I think I'm at 54 pounds. And I have gone up and down more than you can imagine. My whole journey is nothing but a roller coaster. But the thing I have for me is something we were talking about today in a video, is persistence. I keep persisting and I keep pushing and I keep trying. And I have a challenge going on. I call it back to the beginning, that I have gone back to where I started. And where I started was Weight Watchers Simply Feeling. They were rolling out freestyle, but they still had Simply Feeling. So I did that up until they took it away. And I lost 30-some pounds on that until I got off track. And then I guess that 20-some pounds for 3 years. It took me, I don't know, half a year or whatever to lose that 36. So I've been playing with 20 pounds for 3 years. But you know what? I'm not giving up. I've got goals. I've got things I need to accomplish. Health goals. I have 2 knees that desperately need replacing, but he won't replace it until I get my BMI down. And the only way I'm going to do that is to lose weight. So I wanted to go back and start fresh like I did the very first time. So that's just a little bit about me. Now let's just jump into these questions. I figured that'll be the easiest way. Maybe it'll keep me on track, not going down some rabbit hole. And I got my notes out here on the side. So the first thing, how do you schedule your habits into your daily life? Do you use a calendar? Do you tie it into current behavior, like walking in place during commercials? And when and where do you usually do this? Here's the thing, and I have to be honest with you. I don't have habits. I am a fly by the seat of my pants kind of gal. That's the way I have always been. Now, when I was able to exercise, I just did it over here in the living room. I just put my videotape in because I love Richard Simmons' Disco Sweat. If you want to do some exercise, it's fun. So when I could, that was my favorite. Then I have some YouTube videos that I did chair exercises. So I didn't have a certain time of day. It would be either early in the morning before my husband got home from work, or in the afternoons when he went to bed. So I didn't schedule it except for the fact that I knew I was going to do it that day. The only habits that I do have, because I don't write things in the calendar, I don't do any of that. But there are 2 habits that I do have, and that is menu planning and meal prepping. And those 2 things, without them, I would be sunk. First of all, meal planning, menu planning, I did that long before I started Weight Watchers, because if I didn't have a plan written down and grocery shop according to that plan, we wouldn't eat, because there wouldn't be nothing in the house to put together to make anything, because I wouldn't have shopped properly. I would just have a bunch of mismatched stuff, and then last minute I would think, okay, what am I going to make? Then it's too late to thaw some meat out, or whatever, get ready, send David off to work. I can't send him off to work hungry. So menu planning is a very important habit to me. Another important habit to me is meal prepping. A lot of people don't like to eat the same thing every day, but I do it for 4 days. A breakfast, a lunch, and sometimes a snack. Just depends what I'm going to have going for the breakfast and lunch. That helps me know what I'm going to eat. That helps me know what points I'm going to have during the day, so where I can do at supper, instead of building my supper around my breakfast and lunch. Well, I guess I kind of do, because I menu plan it all at the same time. But by knowing that I have something to eat, I know that I'm not going to veer off track for those 2 meals. And those are 2 important meals. Those 2 meals will help keep me from snacking so much during the day if I eat a good meal. And I try to prep good meals. So those I guess you would say are my main 2 habits. Number 2, how do you stick with your schedule? Do you go to the gym with friends or walk by yourself? So here again, I don't have a schedule. I don't schedule anything, and I don't walk anymore. When I did walk, I would get up in the mornings. I would go before people came to work so I could get a parking place, and I would just walk by myself, put my little earbuds in, turn my playlist on Spotify, and just do my thing. But it wasn't scheduled, like these are the days I'm going to do it. I just knew that I would get up in the morning, and if I felt good, I would go. And sometimes I didn't feel like it, but I would just say, do the hard thing. Sometimes you have to do the hard thing. I did the hard thing until my knees quit letting me. I have a note here that says, just do it. That's like the main thing that I will probably talk about is just do it. Don't think about it. Don't talk yourself out of it. Just know this is what you have to do and do it. Like prepping, there are days I get up and I almost cry at the thought of having to meal prep. But I know if I don't, I am not going to be successful for the week. So I have a routine. Without exception, every single meal prep, I start Criminal Minds over from the beginning, episode 1. This is every weekend. I start it over on Netflix on episode 1, and I let it play the whole time I'm meal prepping. That is why I started doing voiceovers on my meal prep. Used to, I would talk through it, but then I'm like, no. I would have to pause the TV and then talk, and pause the TV, back and forth, back and forth. I'm like, no, I'll just voice over so I can keep it going. So that routine helps me do what I have to do. Number 3, how do you focus on what you want to accomplish? Journal it, schedule it, do it same time every day, or have a partnership with one. Here again, I don't have a schedule. I don't journal. I don't have a partnership except for my husband. He is on board with what I eat as far as whatever I make him for supper, he eats it. He has stopped snacking. He don't bring the mess in the house. He fixes his own breakfast when he comes in. He's done that for years. So he eats whatever he wants for breakfast, and then he'll eat whatever he wants for lunch, and then he'll eat what I fix for supper. But he's on board. He backs me. He supports me, and tries to make sure, if we're going to eat, he's like, well, you pick it because you know what you can eat, things like that. It's mental for me. This is my note. How I focus on it is not these physical things. It's mental. I mentally have to tell myself, will what you're fixing to do help you get to your goal? And if it won't, slap it out your mouth. Don't even put it in there. If this candy bowl, I've talked about it on my challenge video today. You're seeing this on a Saturday. A whole week later, I'm taping this. A whole week later. So maybe you saw that video, maybe you didn't. But I have a candy dish over here that has Hershey miniatures, little Reese cups and things like that. My favorite candies. I have walked past it for a week. I ate some the day I decorated for Halloween, and I ate 2 the next day, and I have not touched it since. When I walk past it, I have to tell myself, I have to tell myself, talk to me. If you eat that, you're going to have to go on there and you're going to have to tell them people on YouTube, guess what? Messed up and ate some candy. Then, is eating that candy going to get you to your goal? Your goal of getting surgery? Is it going to get you new knees? Is that little ghost worth a set of new knees? No, sir. No, sir. And I just have to do it. Here again. It's the Nike version is what we're doing. We just have to do it. We have to do the hard thing. The hard thing for me is not to eat that candy because, oh my gosh, I don't have a willpower when you have this stuff in front of me. But there is something about this time, starting on this Simply Feeling, that has just lit a fire in my belly to get this thing done. So my schedule, my focus, I should say, is mental. It's all up here. This is where I focus on it. This is where it starts. It starts and pretty much ends in here more than it does here. Now, how do you stop making excuses for yourself when you slip? This is the only way I know. To stop making excuses, just stop making excuses. Just stop. Just don't make them. Just accept the fact that you slipped and move on. Know that you're human. People, we're going to slip. We are not going to be 100% of the time. But there's no reason, there's no reason to make excuses. You're only fooling yourself. You're only kidding yourself. Well, I've made them before. Of course I have. I ate the candy because I just wasn't feeling good. You ate the candy because you wanted it. Just go ahead and say the truth about it and be done with it. You're not hurting anybody but yourself by making excuses. You got to own up to it. You got to face it. You got to say, I ate the candy because I wanted the candy, period. End of discussion. So that's the only thing I know to say about excuses is just stop making them. Is to just stop making them. Are you doing it by yourself or with a partner? If by yourself, how do you hold yourself accountable? Now, I've already told you that Dave is on board, and so he's like he's my support system here at home. I'm lucky to have that. I'm very fortunate to have a husband who is on board with me. I know there's a lot that are not. And you have to work harder. You just have to work harder. It can be done. You just have to learn to say no to, even if you have to cook a separate meal than the one you cook for yourself. Just know what you're doing is for you and for your good. And just don't even worry about what you're cooking for them. Just do what you have to do for yourself. It can be done. I know it can be done. I just have to be fortunate enough to have a husband who will eat what I fix him. And the accountability part, that's where I struggle because I'm not always accountable. I've told you on my channel plenty of times before, I'm not always accountable to myself. I can talk myself in or out of anything. So that's where I've got to have it up here to be accountable to myself. I've got to say, no, you're not going to do that behavior, or yes, you're going to do this behavior. And if you don't do it, then you got to answer to yourself. I've also got to answer to y'all. y'all hold me accountable, because if I screw up, then I got to come on video and say, guess what? Screwed up. It ain't fun. I do it and I just go on about my business, but it don't make it fun. It don't make it fun when you tell somebody, you know, hey, I messed up big time. But it's just the middle game. There's a lot of this. I know I'm repeating myself, but a lot of this, that's just how I do it. I'm not, I guess my way is different. My way, maybe, I don't know, maybe that's why it's taken me so long, because my way is different. But I know I hadn't given up, and I think that's good for something. Just because it doesn't follow your plan, how do you make it work? Like, everyone goes out to lunch on Fridays, or I don't have the right ingredients for a recipe. Well, I got several things here. First of all, you have to be flexible. So if I'm over here and I planned a supper and it turns out I missed an ingredient when I was making out my list, I either go to the store and get that ingredient, or I just change my menu with something I have on hand, or I make it differently, or I just leave it off. If it's a side dish, then leave it off. It ain't going to be the end of the world if you have one side dish instead of two. Now, if it's your main meat, you know, your main dish, then just find something else. If push comes to shove and you have to eat out, just make the best choice you can for the plan you are following. As far as eating out on Fridays, I don't work, so I don't have to deal with it. But there's something I have learned a long time ago. It is something that's very hard for a lot of people, and that is to say no. Just say no. You can explain why, or you don't have to explain why. Just tell them, no, thank you for the offer, but I'll bring my lunch. You can say no for many reasons. It could be financial reasons. Maybe you don't want to eat out on Friday because you can't afford it. They don't need to know that. Maybe it's because you're wanting to eat differently from the way they eat. They don't need to know that. Just graciously is the word I'm looking for. Graciously decline the offer and bring your own lunch. Listen, you can still, if they sit in the conference room or wherever they sit, if they sit at their desk, but if they sit together, just take your lunch in there and sit with them. I can't imagine anybody like thinking less of you because you don't order food out. So don't worry about that. That should not even be an issue. Do your best. Just do your best. Whatever the situation that comes up, that's the be flexible part, and do your best while you're being flexible. Make the best choices you can make. If you can't make a perfect on-plan choice, make the closest one you can, track it, know that it was just something that happened. It was, you ran out of the ingredient, or you forgot maybe Friday you forgot your lunch and you have to eat out with them. Then just pick the best you can pick. That's the only way, that's the only answer I have for this one, is just do your best. Do your best. How do you design your everyday life for success? A partnership, recipes, videos. Well, I do watch YouTube videos. I watch those. Listen, I get upset when I get up in the mornings. I'm up at 2, 3, 4 o'clock every single morning, and I get upset when there is not a YouTube video to watch. I expect all the people I watch to have videos up every day to give me something to do when I wake up. But they don't. So I do watch that. My partner, I guess, me and Joan over at Joan's Point Plate, we talk every day. And so we'll tell each other stuff. And, of course, like I said, David, what was the rest of the question? Oh, the only thing that I do in my daily life is I have my menu planned and my prep done. That is my daily. I stick to my food through those two things, but I don't do like the other things we're talking about, journaling or scheduling or anything like that. I just do my best. I know I'm doing a lot of repeating, but I don't know how else to describe it to you when I'm not that kind of person. I'm not regimented. Is that a word? Regimented? I'm not scheduled. I'm not pinned down. I don't work, so I don't have a routine at all. There is no routine except for at night I cook supper, make sure he eats before he goes to work and has something to take with him. That's my routine. You know, I get my bearded dragon up in the morning at 8 o'clock, put her to bed at 7 o'clock. That's a routine. That doesn't help me on my health journey. So I don't have any routines in my daily life except for the days that I meal plan and then the day that I meal prep. So I feel like I'm not telling you anything useful, and I apologize, but I want you to know that if you don't do these things, like I don't do these things, you can still stick to your plan. I know you're saying, oh, but it's taken you 3.5 years and you only lost 54 pounds. You could have done better. Sure I could have. Sure I could have. But I'm a work in progress. Maybe I'm a slow learner. Maybe I just take the long road to get where I'm going. But I stay on that road. That's what I want you to take away from this. Even if you're just a fly by the seat of your pants like I am, you can still accomplish it by staying on it, not quitting. Let's get to the last question. How do you make a habit important to you and not feel defeated when you mess up? Okay, let's just get this straight. You're going to mess up. We are human like that. It's going to happen. We're not going to be perfect. I've already said that. We're not going to be 100% of the time. We're going to mess up. But here's the thing. There's no reason to feel defeated because it happens to the best of us. Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and move on. That's an old cliche. I know it is, but I'm old. I can use old cliches because I'm old. Here again, you just have to put it in your mind that you're not going to feel defeated. You're not going to get down on yourself. You're not going to mope and whine and cry because you messed up. You just have to tell yourself, you messed up, move on. A lot of what I said comes back to it's a mental game. It's a mind game. My mind helps me personally more than any kind of scheduling or writing down because I'm not that kind of person. I'm just not a writing kind of person. I'm not a journaling kind of person. I'm not a planning or like list making. I'm not good at it. Never had been. So if I tried to do it now, I would set myself up for failure because that's not what I'm good at. I'm better at mind games. Sometimes I win those games and sometimes I don't win those games. But what we said is to get yourself making smart choices. Just make the smart choice. Just do it. Don't talk yourself out of it. I've told y'all on many occasions, I have 2 girls. One says, don't do it. Don't do it. The other one says, girl, you all right? Go on and eat that tater chip. Sometimes I listen to her. I ain't gonna lie. No sense to sit here and lie. Most of the times I try to listen to her. Over time, I have gotten off track, but I've gotten back on. I've gotten off track and I've gotten back on. And when I've gotten back on, it's because I get my mind right. I have to get my mind right. It's not because I sit down and made a schedule and said, okay, starting tomorrow, here's your schedule. Here's what you're going to do. That just doesn't work for me. If it works for you, that is wonderful. But I'm talking to the people who it doesn't work for them either. I want you to know that you can overcome whatever the situation you're having in this weight loss journey. Listen, tracking is my nemesis. I despise tracking. That's why Simply Feeling works for me, because it is based on not having to track your no-count foods. Just like the blue, purple, and green, you don't have to track your no-count foods. It'll keep yourself accountable. Not accountable. Help you look and see what you did. Like, some of you had a bad week, you can look back and see what you ate. So that would be beneficial if I did that. But I don't even do that. I don't track anything but pointed foods. That's what I will track if it has points. But just know that if you get your mind right, work on your mind first. And if you feel like you need to write a journal or handwrite what you eat in a day, keep up with your points on paper, keep up with your water, how many ever waters you drink. If you need to keep something on your refrigerator to write on, you do what you have to do. But to get it up here first, and know that to do the hard thing, you just have to do the hard thing. I don't know how else to put it. I don't know of any magic pill, any magic trick, any hack, any inside information, any trick, anything to getting it done other than to just do it. So that's my take on the subject. I don't know if I have helped anybody or just confused you. I hope I helped. So what you have to do now is, after you've watched my video, is go to the description box down below, go to everybody's link, watch everybody's video. And it'd be nice if you give it a like, if you give it a comment, and if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. We would love to have you. All of us would love to have you. Be sure and go visit Sandy, because she is the hostess of this collab. So you be sure and go visit her as well. And we thank her for doing it, and thank you for inviting me, Sandy. And what I like to say on collabs is, I would love for you to subscribe. I don't know what we'll do, but we'll have fun doing it. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.